YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6 YouTube channel. Got on a little bit different pair of glasses today. Those are what's called long vision instead of short and long vision bifocal, because these are non-bifocal glasses. This is the second pair of glasses I have with a pair of two that I got through America's Best. And what this vlog is going to be about is going to be similar to the previous vlog. The vlog that I uploaded previous to today, and the vlog that I made, it's almost 2 days ago by now. And it's a vlog about Bradley Marshall Breadmen. Breadmen. But this Bradley Breadman is different. He was raised in a totally different part of the United States. His ethnic background is, if it's not a lot of different, it's definitely different for sure. And this Bradley Breadman, or Bradley Marshall Breadman, is not from Indiana. He's from Raton, New Mexico. Because until he moved to Los Angeles, he knew no other. He didn't live anywhere else. So why don't I go ahead and give a description of the second version of Bradley Breadman. Okay, he was born on June 22nd, 1996 at a public or private hospital in Raton. And again, that's where he was born. Ethnic background, what makes his genetics, his race. He is 87% white Caucasian, 9% Mexican Hispanic, and 4% Egyptian. So he is mixed race. And forgive me for using this type of expression. I don't mean it in a way that's harmful, but other people are fine with it. He's what's also called a Heinz 57. Employment background or jobs Bradley held in Raton, New Mexico. First job, and this was when he had just turned 16 a few days before this date of hire. He was a grocery bagger at Super Save food store, because that place does exist, and he was there from June 28th, 2012 until August 3rd, 2016. His second job, vintage and thrift bookstore. This one does exist. And he was a bookseller. And the other thing was, it wasn't a one-man show, but it was a three-man show. It was the owner, another employee who covered the hours that he didn't want to work, and he worked at this bookstore from August 5th, 2016 until September 9th, 2020, and he quit. And what happened was after he quit, he really started applying for jobs. He didn't get one just like that. But after really working away at it for almost 2 weeks, he got hired at KOAT TV, because that is a Raton TV station that has the rights to do, I guess what's called a feed, or it's an ABC affiliate, ABC, American Broadcasting Network affiliate. And he was hired to be a technician overseer. Basically, all he did was he sat near the machinery and he did a few things that weren't automated. Like he would put in commercials at exactly the right time. And he made sure to be there doing it, because no matter how bad he had to go to the bathroom, he held it with all he could muster, so that got taken care of. And he did that from September 21st, 2020 until about June 13th, 2025. And he gave proper notice, because he knew he damn well better give proper notice, because if he didn't, he was really burning the bridge, and they weren't going to say very good things about him. When places that he applied for jobs at were doing reference checking and employee checking, employee background verification. And here's why he left the job. He was truly fed up with Raton. There'd been a few changes in the 29 years he'd been alive, but for the most part it was always more of the same. And he was sick and tired of it. And he'd been doing a lot of research about agents, talent scout agents, and how to get jobs in the film industry. And he had quite a bit of money saved up, quite a bit. One of them was a U.S. Treasury note that was over 30 years old. No, correction, over 25 years old. And he saved up probably over $4,000 of his own money. And not only that, he sold his car. He sold, or actually he got the house in a rent-to-own situation where he had a good, highly skilled realtor arrange that, help him arrange that. And he sold some food processors. He sold a few, about 3 different handguns and 2 shotguns and 3 rifles. And he sold all his furniture, but he kept most of his clothes except for a couple of things. One 2-piece set that he hated because he felt it made him look like a sorry-ass nerd, and the other one because it made him look like a pathetic hick who didn't know how to dress. And he also sold some VHS tapes couple of Betamax tapes that he'd been had stored away in in a box in an attic in the house that he owned, and lots of collectibles. When he went to LA, he had over 7,189 to his name. That ain't big bucks, but you better. But if you're gonna move out there, you better be working like that, or you're really gonna be stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it's really gonna suck. And he tried to arrange a friend giving him a ride to Albuquerque. But the one friend was only going to charge him a little bit for gas, but he couldn't do it. And another person who was willing to do it for him was going to charge him at least $70. And he's like, forget it. It's too much money. And a bus shelter company wanted to charge him over $120 pathetic dollars. And he's like, oh, screw that. Even though I got the money, that's still a rip-off. Not going to do it. And I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Raton has a Amtrak station. So, what he does is on June 26th was his official move-in date to his new address in Hollywood, California. So, on June 25th, this early in the morning, and I believe that it would be Mountain States time, or Mountain Standard Time, at 6:25 a.m., after he has checked in his luggage and paid a baggage fee of about $40 actually, because he had two big suitcases. And everything, and he got a private room. He got a one-way ticket that I believe would set him back. This is in 2025. The best guess I can make, if they were hard up for people and their prices were lowered, at least $489. Yeah. And he got a room instead of like what's called coach seating. And he gets on, and I need to stand. I need to make a little bit of a correction here. It wasn't 6:25. It was 6:51 a.m. that he actually left Raton, New Mexico, and he took quite a long ride. And there was a layover in, I think it would be one of those areas. I mean, here's California City. You know, it's really far inland. And about 67 miles away would be another city. What that city would be called, I just don't know. I don't know California well enough to know that. I know a lot about it, but I don't know everything. So again, like I've already displayed before, I'll demonstrate this again. California city's here. And 70 miles that way would be the city that they actually leave from after a 6 to 7 hour layover. Yeah. And he was in bed sleeping like he was in his private room sleeping like a baby the whole time. And at about 8 a.m. Pacific time, there's a knock on the door, and he answers it, and there's a I don't like to use porter, but there's a I guess it would be called a train attendant knocking on the door saying, "Hey, sir, we're serving breakfast in the breakfast dining room. Would you like to come and have a good breakfast?" He says, "Yes." He says, "Okay." He says, "Come seat in the next 15 minutes because otherwise you're going to have to do the request to have it brought to your private room." And then he goes over to the dining area, and he orders, because he has like 5 different choices. He orders a nice omelet with ham and a side of sourdough toast, and they bring three little packets about this big of jelly. And he also has a little bit of, especially, they call it glazed diced hash browns. And he drinks some dark roast coffee that, even though he has to put a little bit more cream in it than usual, it's the best coffee he's had in years. It's really good. And then after he finishes the breakfast, he asks a train attendant or an attendant or a server if he can stay there just a little bit longer. He says, "Yes, you can stay for another 20 minutes, but then you're going to be asked to get up and go to your room because we're going to take down the tables and disassemble the dining area." And he drinks another cup of coffee, and then when there's an announcement that everybody has to leave, he leaves. And he takes he leaves a coffee mug behind. Porcelain coffee mug. And he goes back to his room, uses the bathroom, and he thought, well, I feel dirty. It's time for me to see about taking a shower. So he gets together his toiletry bag, and he talks to an attendant, and they said, "Okay, why don't you use this one right over here? It's available now." So he goes in there, and they hand him a nice towel, and he showers, shaves, brushes his teeth, puts on some good deodorant, a little bit of cologne, and then he puts a nice bathrobe that has the Amtrak logo. And he has that on himself as he goes back to his room and gets dressed in the clothing that he chose to put on his nice clean clothes. Those in his duffel bag. At around 1:45 p.m., he gets at, I'm pretty sure it's called Union Station, Los Angeles. Oh, goodness. And then he gathers his stuff and he leaves the train, the train car, you know what I mean. And he goes where he is supposed to go to claim his luggage. And then after he claims his luggage, he looks at he turns on his smartphone, and there is probably at least 8 different voicemail messages. And he goes through them all, and one of them is the leasing office. And he calls them back, and he lets them know where he is. And he says, okay. He says, I know that this ride's going to be at least 45 minutes to get from Union Station to Santa Monica Boulevard. And they said, okay, that's fine. Just make sure to get here as quickly as you can. Despite that, thank you very much for letting us know. So he sets up an Uber ride. And the Uber ride, I would say it probably cost at least $44. Yes. And actually, it was an SUV Uber ride, so it was more like about $57. Yeah. So he gets the SUV because he knows with a regular car and as big as those pieces of luggage are, they're going to tell him we can't do it, or the trunk is not big enough. So he has a good SUV Uber driver, and the good thing is, instead of taking 45 to 50 to 55 minutes or longer than an hour, it only takes 39 minutes to get from Union Station to the following address. I can't say the exact number, but I'll tell you this much. It's the 5600 block of Santa Monica Boulevard, Los Angeles, 90038, and it's an apartment complex called Bleep Bleep Studios. Yep. And he managed to get a 372 to 800. It's 380 square foot studio apartment with a private bathroom. And he goes into the leasing office, and he has to initial a lot of things, and he has to sign at least 6 different pages of documents. I mean, they're really quite particular about getting him initiated to become a tenant of that apartment complex. And then they have a valet driver. It's actually a maintenance man, but it's a fairly big golf cart. And the valet driver loads up the 2 things, his laptop and his duffel bag. And they go a distance of probably at least 1.5 city blocks, because if this place is as big as I have it in my mind that it actually is, it's huge. There's like at least 15, 16 different buildings. So goes over to the one, and they have to go up a fairly steep flight of stairs to get to his unit, which is fine with him. And then they get, he carries one bag, and the valet guy carries another, and then he carries the special case for the laptop, and the valet driver carries the duffel bag. And he shakes hands, and he says, "Can I give you a tip of $10?" He says, No, I can't accept that. I'm sorry. The one guy who kept accepting tips, they fired him, so I can't do that for you. But your heart's in the right place, and God bless you for what you did. And he puts his hands out, and they shake hands. Then Bradley starts putting away a lot of clothes, and he has like 3 different skillets. One's a 6-inch, one's an 8-inch, one's a 10-inch, and he puts those in the kitchen. And he puts away a packet that's about that size. It's where there's like 10 butter knives, 10 spoons, 10 forks in there. And he puts that away in one of the drawers. And he also remembered that he forgot to buy one of those miniature K-cup coffee makers. So he's like, well, I better put that down on the list. So he gets out his smartphone and he types in as a shopping list. And then he puts down these things on top of the K-cup coffee maker, or K-cup K-pod coffee maker, you know what I mean. He puts in coffee blends, butter, sugar, flour, oregano, paprika, hold on a second, I'll be right back. So that I'm staying on track, I thought I'd just get some spices of my own, because he'd probably buy these. Chili powder, onion powder, cumin, Italian seasoning, because I add just a little bit of that to most of the cans or jars of spaghetti, and it always helps make it taste better. Always. No matter how good the sauce was to begin with, it still helps. Garlic powder. Yep, I use that every day. Put a little bit of that in some a bowl of eggs before as part of scrambling the eggs. Well, I already went over that. And good old-fashioned baking powder by Clabber Girl. But he just, when he goes to the grocery store, he gets an off-brand instead, because him getting this stuff isn't necessarily a top priority with him. I'll be right back. And he also puts these down on the list: toilet paper, paper towels, laxatives, in case it really gets stopped up, and something that would either be Tums or Gaviscon, in case it really gets an upset stomach. Habanero hot sauce, red salsa, tortilla chips, certain types of frozen breakfast burritos, and he also makes sure to get toilet bowl cleaner, toilet bowl brush, a plunger, and he gets bathroom cleaner, multi-purpose bathroom cleaner, and Windex, or for glass, the blue, you know what I mean. And he also has it in his mind to look through the magazines, see if he sees something that he'd like to buy. And what he does is he gets an Uber ride to I think there's a possibility in that area, I could be wrong, if it's not Safeway, it's Albertsons. And when he goes in there and he finds like 4 different choices of K-Pod coffee makers, he finds one that's on sale for that's a good Keurig that normally costs about $104. It's on sale for $62.89 instead of $62.99, $62.89. And he finds a couple of blends of coffees, and he buys all the stuff that that I just talked about. And he does go over when the shopping cart's pretty much filled up. He goes over and he takes a look at the magazines. He doesn't really find anything. But one thing he does find, and he figures he very well better buy it. It is the Holy Bible, Contemporary English Version. It says CEV, which means Contemporary English Version. And he buys it. It's only $12.95. Yep. And he pays for everything, and the amount of money that he racks up is $249.89. $249.89. I mean, that's not the most expensive you could spend in a grocery store, because I've rung up tens of thousands of transactions at the grocery store chain I work for. But that's not nothing. But that's still a dent in his wallet. He gets a Lyft ride that only sets him back about $17 and change from the grocery store back to his apartment complex. And he puts everything away. And then all of a sudden, right as he's putting everything away, his stomach starts growling hard. I mean, and his stomach is hurting because it's growling so hard because he's so hungry all of a sudden. And he's like, no, I better not go out to eat, because knowing my luck, I might be going into a restaurant where there's a bunch of noisy teenage kooks. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And he goes into the, it's one of those high-level things that's over the stove. It's cabinetry. It's right over the area where the kitchen stove is, or oven range. He pulls out the chips, the tortilla chips. And he says, well, I haven't had paste pecani sauce in at least a couple of years. Why not? And it's slightly cold, but it's also feels kind of warm too. It's like, I can handle it. So what he does is he's like, oh man, I don't got no salsa dip. Those little salsa dip bowls. What am I going to do? And he's thinking, 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 and he's thinking. And he's like, I'll just cut them like, break them in half like this and just dip it down in there. There's nothing else for me to do. So he does that. And the hunger goes away for about 45 minutes. And then it comes back. And he feels really weak. And it's a type of stomach growling where there's this sensation in his throat that's like slight gurgling. The way his stomach growls, he can feel it in his throat. And then he's thought, okay, I'm going to look to see if I got DoorDash or Grubhub in my smartphone. He's got neither one. So he sets, and he's never done Grubhub or DoorDash before. So he sets up an account in each one. And then his stomach's growling even worse. So it's like, oh, bleepity bleep. God, why am I going through this? So he reaches up into the kitchen cabinet that's high up above the oven range. And he just goes, he just chomps down about 9 or 10 chips, tortilla chips. And there is some milk. And he's like, I don't feel like soda, so he just, it's one of those things that's, it's about a quart of milk. And he goes, boop, 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 boop. And then he looks through Uber and he looks through Lyft again. And he thought, I'm gonna do that California cheeseburger with fries. That'll do it. And he orders that. And he also has the option of getting a cookie. A nice oatmeal raisin cookie. One of those ones, it's about that big around. It's huge. It's huge. He says, yeah, I'm going to add that too. Why not? And then he orders the food, and he's looking at his smartphone about like this every couple of minutes. And when he knows that they're close, he's just like, well, I'll activate the laptop and see if I can get that free internet connection that they're talking about. And he's got that on the countertop that's not, it's not in the kitchen, but it's over here on the other side, on a countertop that separates the kitchen itself from the living area or the living room area. And then he hears a knock on the door. And I mean, this guy knocks on the door about this loud. Yeah. And he opens up the door. And there's this guy. I mean, he's nice and all, but he is at least 6'9". Yeah. And he's young and he's got a distinct, deep voice like this. Yeah. He's a white guy, but he's got a distinct, deep voice like that I just demonstrated. And he hands him, he gets the food from him, and he says, hey, if you want to order anything else from us, just go ahead and do so. We got lots of drivers working for the restaurant, okay? He says, yeah, okay. But I thought you were DoorDash. Oh, yeah, you're right. We got a lot of DoorDash drivers. I'm sorry, I got confused. See you, man. And he takes off. The driver does take off. And he opens up the thing, and there's, he doesn't have any furniture. There's nothing else to do but just sit on the floor and either, one, sit Indian style and eat it, or two, lean up against the wall and eat it, or actually we'll add number three. Number three, go into the kitchen, set it down on the kitchen countertop, and eat standing up. So he chooses number one, sitting Indian style. And he doesn't have much glassware with him. He has one drinking glass and one coffee cup that is ceramic. It has the nice New Mexico state logo on it. Yeah. So he uses the glassware. It's like a bluish, kind of 80s looking glass, where it's got a slight, instead of being like this or like this, it kind of goes about like this. It has a slight where there's like what's called a taper effect. And he pours some well-chilled Coca-Cola out of a 2-liter bottle in there after he's had a few bites of the burger, because the burger's really good. And he comes back over and he sits in the inside like he was before, and he just keeps chomping away and eating everything. In fact, the French fries are so well made, he doesn't need ketchup. Here's the main reason why I personally think it tastes so good. See, they're at sea level, and the way the food is cooked, it has a distinct, better flavor, because the way the I want to say bread rises, but this isn't bread. But the way the pores in the French fries mesh or connect with the at sea level climate, make it taste good. That's the best way I can explain it. And after he's had about half a regular size of these, they're fairly thick. Each individual French fries is thick, and it's what's called a steak fries cut. So he takes out he flattens out the bag that it comes in. He squirts a couple of things of Hunt's ketchup. He just goes until everything is eaten, and he sets aside the cookie that is this big around in a kitchen cabinet in the kitchen, so he's not tempted to eat it, because that cheeseburger is really, really filling, coupled with the French fries. And he's like, oh man, whew, I'm wiped out. Whew. I don't know what to do. So he goes over to the corner near the front door. And he just sits there like this. He's like, ooh. And he just and he leans up against the wall and he starts going like, after about a little over 5 minutes, he goes like this. And he starts leaning forward about like this. And then he goes. And the thing of Coca-Cola, there's only a little bit left, and just one swig, final sip of that empties the glass that it was in. He goes into the kitchen. He opens up the box that has the Keurig coffee maker, and he follows the instructions verbatim on how to get everything activated. And he cleans out the insert where you put in the K-cup. And he rinses out really good the tank. And then he puts in some nice cold water. And then he takes the coffee mug, and because there's 3 buttons, 6 ounce, 8 ounce, 10 ounce. And he goes, I'll go with 8 ounce, is what he's thinking. So he presses 8 ounce, and he gets some nice, I think it would be called Giovanni Caramel Nougat. And after it's done, he carefully sips it and he's like, whoa, I didn't think it'd be that good. That's not as good as that cup of coffee I had on the Amtrak train, but that's definitely a close second. Wow. And he takes one more sip and he goes, he looks into the refrigerator, he finds the cream, he puts it in, and he sees some raw sugar packets, about this big. And he goes, and he just dumps it in there, and he takes one of his spoons that's in a little bit of, scratch that. He goes into the drawer where the throwaway plasticware is. And he just stirs it real good. And he goes, he's like, wow. And he sips it again, he goes, wow, I don't believe it. And then he does it again. He goes, wow. Oh my God. Wow. And then he goes over to the computer and tries to find some local TV station. After he looks, he's all of a sudden really got to go to the bathroom. So he goes to the bathroom, does what he's got to do. And then After making a few calls to a few friends, at about 11 p.m., he takes out two winter coats and he lays them out flat. And he takes because see, this was in his mailbox. I didn't say that before because he went to look at the mailbox at one point. There's a package that is this big. It's a nice, fairly thick blanket. That's like what's called a throw down or a throw blanket. And he gets undressed except for he puts on some sweater, or jogging, athletic sweater, sweatpants, you know what I mean. And he turns out all the lights, and within about 15 minutes, all of a sudden he's really snoring away because he is tired. And the next day, he wakes up, he makes a good breakfast, and he bought some paper plates while he was at the grocery store. And he makes another cup of that coffee that just is really delicious. And he starts looking into buying a new car, putting a down payment of $800 to $1,000. Yep. And one more thing before I end the vlog. After a couple of days of getting settled in, he goes into the talent agency, and they really have a heavily detailed meeting with him that is like over 3.5 hours long. Then what they do is he takes a 45-minute lunch break, and he comes back, and he has two different acting teachers teach him and 5 others some acting skills. Well, that's about it for this vlog. Thank you everyone for watching this vlog, and goodbye now. Thanks a lot.